Okay, guys, so welcome to this video. In this video, what we're going to have a look at is this idea of sovereignty. So traditionally, we've lived in a world where a government controls everything within its borders, and that includes raising tax. And tax, of course, is very important because it's the way that government pays for essential services. We're starting to see a quite considerable shift, not only to transnational corporations, which is actually very hard for tax purposes, but also this idea of they're increasingly repatriating their profit. So they're sending the profit to another country. Now they're actually taking this up to the next level. They're actually placing their headquarters in tax havens. That's countries or territories which have very, very low tax rates. And so it gets increasingly complex. That's a real challenge for governments around the world. So it's a challenge at two levels. Firstly, you've got the level that the country is losing that vital tax revenue, which it does require to, for example, to fund its public services. It's also putting pressure on governments to create a low tax environment. Because if they don't create a low tax environment, what's going to happen is that companies will simply relocate to those countries with the lowest taxation. So let's think about your corporate profits within the European Union. I know the UK is no longer part of the European Union, but we'll still think in terms of we'll still assume that the UK is. So you have a choice as a company, as a director of a company. You can locate in the UK with a 23% corporate tax rate, or you can locate in Lithuania, 0. What are you going to do? Lose a quarter of your revenue to tax, or relocate your business in Lithuania and pay 0 tax? Now, obviously, not all companies do that, and there are big challenges with locating your business in a country like Lithuania, but nevertheless, you can see that it's very, very attractive. And there's lots of other countries, Luxembourg, Bulgaria, Belgium, with comparatively low taxation rates. So while this is not illegal, and I'm not for one moment suggesting the company which we're going to look at, Apple, is acting in an illegal way. Some people would say this is unethical. I would say what you need to understand is the responsibility of the company directors is first and foremost to its shareholders. They have a responsibility to the shareholders. Now, if the shareholders decide, actually what we want to do is we want to have lower dividends, we want to have lower profit, because ethically we should locate in a country, in the home country, which has a high level of taxation, that's fine. But seriously, the majority of shareholders are going to decide that? No, of course not. We live in the real world and people are going to want to maximize their profits. So it's very easy to judge these companies, but all they're doing is they're running business. Donald Trump, when he was criticized for his companies not paying tax, is actually an intelligent answer he gave. And when he was criticized for that, he said, I've done nothing wrong, nothing illegal, I'm the smart one. And it was Hillary Clinton, the Clinton administration, that actually put those tax regimes in place that enabled Donald Trump. So it's one of the very few things that Donald Trump has, I've heard him say, which is absolutely spot on. He's doing nothing wrong. He's just smart. And to do anything else would be absolutely ridiculous. So let's have a look at what Apple does.
taxes we owe. Every single dollar.
This concept of a loophole, I think that's rather false. It's not a loophole. It didn't happen by accident. It was deliberately constructed to enable companies to do that. So a loophole, no, I don't think it is a loophole. It's been deliberate. It wasn't a mistake. It's been deliberately constructed. This legal framework has been constructed to enable this to happen. Not really a loophole. Okay, so Ireland was stopped from doing that, stopped from being a tax haven by the European Union. It was made illegal. It wasn't illegal before, but it's made illegal. So quickly now, really fast, Apple needs to find another location to enable the same thing. So they deliberately sent out questionnaires. They basically went shopping for a low tax bill. The winner? Jersey. Tiny, tiny island that's famous for potatoes, high quality dairy products, and tax avoidance. Okay, so that's Paradise Papers, and you may have heard of the Panama Papers. Similar type of thing. It's not illegal. It's stretching the law. Unethical. We're kind of in that grey territory there. But in fairness to these companies, their responsibility is to their shareholders. And part of that responsibility is to minimize within the bounds of the law their tax liabilities. Now that affects the sovereignty of a country because it means that they cannot collect tax. Now there's something that's a bit complicated, which is called a double Irish sandwich.
Ever wonder how big multinational companies pay so little tax? The main way they do it is transfer pricing. Technically, transfer pricing is trade, but within multinationals. It makes up 60% of all international trade. That's $12.7 trillion last year.
So that international trade, that global trade that we're talking about, is not trade between companies, it's trade within a group of companies. And you will see the little trick now that they do that to minimize their tax bill. So 60%, the majority of the world's trade is not between companies, it's within companies.
Here's an example, the double Irish Dutch sandwich. To do this, you need 3 companies. An Irish company registered in a tax haven like Bermuda, and a Dutch shell company, a company that's only used to move money around. Let's say you're selling bananas in Australia. You buy the bananas from your Irish company and pay a lot for them. You pay so much that you make hardly any profit selling them, so you pay virtually no tax in Australia.
So you pay a lot of money for whatever, way over its market value. And because you pay so much money, you don't make a profit. And because you don't make a profit, you don't pay any tax. But they're buying the bananas or whatever from themselves, not at a loss. They're buying it from themselves.
But you still have the money in Ireland. To avoid paying tax there, your Irish company sends nearly all of the money to the Dutch company as management fees. This is tax-free because it's within the EU. But the Dutch company has to pay almost all of that money out as brand licensing fees to the other Irish company, except that the other Irish company is in Bermuda, where there's no corporate tax. The sandwich is just one transfer pricing scheme. There are dozens, maybe hundreds more.
So companies use this all the time. So the final part is that basically you pay royalty fees or consultancy fees, and you can stack that up. So quite often what they will say is that if you take a coffee brand or a coffee shop, if you like, we won't mention an international brand, you could say, okay, part of that license, they have to pay for that license, and it goes for everything. The cups that you use, trademarked. The furniture that you use, all trademarked. Even down to things like, there's a very popular burger company. And what they do is they say, our fries are really good because when it comes out the fat fry, you have to shake the fry 6 times. It doesn't make any difference. But the point is they have to pay royalties on that. Shaking the fries, the brothers, oh, I said the company there, the brothers have to pay royalty on that. So just think about that. So they say, oh no, this is consultancy fee. Actually, our company doesn't make any money because they're paying all of these consultancy fees. Well, they're paying the consultancy fees to themselves, and then it's being taxed in a tax haven like Bermuda, where, surprise, surprise, there is 0 tax. So you need that triad of 3 companies to be able to do that. And it's not illegal, unethical, some people would say, but it's not illegal.
Most of which we don't even know about. And it's all completely legal. For more, subscribe to the Money Podcast.
Okay, so you need to watch this in conjunction with the website. I will let you have a little look at the details of that. Yeah, it's quite incredible. Okay, guys, so I hope you found this video useful. In the next video, we'll be going and looking at tax avoidance by wealthy individuals, and that is where we will be looking at the Panama Papers. Okay, guys, so I hope you found this video useful.